in having to figure out what I'm going to be doing next, what projects I'm going to be working on, I decided to try a little bit of an experiment, to take democracy not just from the group perspective, what should we do as a society, what should we do as a city or a community or whatever, but instead to say, what should I do as an individual? And probably the best way to figure that out is to engage in a democratic dialogue with my community, to get the best picture of reality that I can so that I can make the most informed decision possible. So with this experiment, I put up a web page where people could go on and suggest projects that I could work on and vote on which projects I could work on. I retained the right of refusal. And I would also retain the right to do some things that people hadn't voted for. So if there's something I really want to do that I think really needs to be done, but it didn't get any votes, I still reserve the right to do that. That said, my intent is really to try very much to do those things that got the most votes. And fortunately, the things that got the most votes are things that I see the value in. Now, I see the value in most of the things that were posted to the suggestions, so it's a matter of prioritizing, and the voting is helping me make those priority decisions. So there were a wide variety of inputs coming in, and that, to me, really spoke well of the project, because the point was to get a variety of perspectives, people with different priorities, different senses of what things can and should be done. And so with that, I got a fairly good picture from the people in my community, my colleagues, friends, my family, and getting a sense of what are the things that I really should be emphasizing. And so with that, I do want to say, I do actually really appreciate the effort. I mean, some people wrote long emails with lots of really interesting thoughts and suggestions and questions. And so that really helped quite a lot in this. So I do really want to thank those of you who participated in this process for me. I was kind of surprised with some of the things that didn't get votes. Chief among those is the Calgary Democracy Project. This is a project that I thought had a fairly broad appeal, but it got, I think, 1 or 2 votes. So that's something I'm going to be setting on the back burner for now, because clearly there isn't a broad interest in this. Perhaps if some further people come up with interest, I may resume it again, but for now, that one's on the back burner. That's part of what this exercise was about, was finding those things where my assumptions are not necessarily right. And I had assumed that a lot of people would be interested in those projects, and the reality is they aren't. So I'm going on with other things. The Collaborative Action Project. The idea behind this is building a system, not just an internet web computer system, but also a process, group process, where as a broader community of people engaged in efforts for positive social change in this city, we find ways to come together en masse to do collaborative actions. If we could once a month agree that we're going to do something together, and not everybody will, but there are thousands of progressive activists in this city, and if we would move together on things as those thousands of people, we could make massive change in this city, in this province, and maybe even this country. So there's all sorts of complicated things in how this could come about to make sure there's a balance between the various interests that people would be bringing to the table on this. We wouldn't want it to be all environmental actions or all peace actions or whatever. There needs to be a good mix so that every interest has an opportunity to come forward and benefit from collaborative action. But for that to happen, it means we're all going to have to invest a bit of time every month, or whatever the schedule we set up. I mean, ideally it'd be once a week in my view, but we'll probably start out with once a month. And we all come together to support issues that aren't necessarily our issues, that we don't necessarily have a big interest or a big priority on, but with the understanding that if I support your actions, you can support my actions. And we take care of each other that way, rather than just me and my small little group working on a given action, and you and your small little group working on a given action, and taking years and years and years to move things forward. If we can come together at key points and support each other in mass actions, whether it's a protest on the street or a letter writing campaign, or we're all calling our MLAs, or we're all initiating some new recycling project, or whatever it is, that we move together where there are opportunities to make significant change on a wide range of issues. It is a project that I've been excited about for at least a few years, since I first started thinking about, okay, how do we build this mutual support, this collaboration, rather than the dissociation that so dominates the mainstream of activism in our communities. Urban agriculture is becoming a really critical issue in a very literal sense. As we face the possibility of the collapse of the petroeconomy, and certainly the economic collapse that the world is experiencing right now, food is becoming a very difficult issue. Right now, we're so dependent on our food coming from the other side of the planet, from being delivered through all these petroleum-based systems of transportation, through being produced using petroleum-based fertilizers and all the pesticides and all this kind of stuff, that is making it very difficult as we go forward to ensure that we will have a secure supply of food. So again, this is another one that really excites me, and I'm glad it made the top list. It's the only one on the top list that is actually an issue rather than infrastructure for supporting social change. And I think water and food security are really the most important issues we're facing in the near term, because if we fail those, we've got nothing. So anyway, urban agriculture, lots of votes. It's a progressive talk show. I'm hoping to do a wide variety of interviews and some commentary, clips from what's going on in the community. Should be kind of exciting. And hopefully it will be more than just me, but it'll be a collective dialogue that all the people engaged in social change in the city can participate in. Develop a physical space, sort of an activist community center, a space where we can have meetings, ideally integrating something like a coffee shop, bookstore, eco shop, bike shop, art gallery, performance space, public speaker space, meeting rooms, workshops, offices, daycare, garden, the whole gamut of things that make up a community, and specifically having that geared towards supporting efforts for social change around social justice and the environment in our community. It's a really exciting project. I think it can make such a tremendous difference. The lack of that kind of space, someplace that people can just drop in, be casual, have meetings, whatever. The lack of that space is really holding back a lot of potential in this community, which gets to the sneaky bit of this whole voting process. See, it's not just about me figuring out what I need to be doing. It's me getting a sense of what people in the community support. And in stating your support, you're also saying this is something you want to see happen. And if you really want to see it happen, you're going to have to help out too. Whether that's by contributing your time, resources you have, financially. You need to pitch in too, just as I have to. So, this is my call to action. You've heard the projects that I'm focusing on: the physical space, urban agriculture, the collaborative action project, and the progressive talk show video stuff. So if any of these interest you, particularly if you voted for them, please get in touch with me and we'll figure out how to move forward on that so that we can actually hopefully make a real difference in this community.